Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese episode 607. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Matt Zoner.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games, brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. This week, we're discussing Simulacra, and we're ranking it on the list. Matt, before we dive into Simulacra, have you ever found someone's cell phone or a personal item of somebody?
Yes. More
Oh.
specifically, my dad, and he handed it to me.
Oh.
Um, so in the olden days, I don't like to disclose this, but I have to for the story. In the olden days, I used to work at a store that was labeled as a fruit of a kind. If you know, you know.
Okay.
My dad at a Capitals game, of all things, found a phone and
Uh-huh.
thought, instead of telling me or giving it to the ushers, to tell me when we got in the car that he found a phone and can I do something at work about this. So it phone traveled back with me. I was able to utilize Siri to get at least a name, and then I forgot what ended up happening with how we got in contact. I can't remember if I called or if I figured out a way to call, or if someone had called the phone and I happened to pick up. Um,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
but yeah, we ended up meeting at said fruit, and yeah, I gave the phone back. So happy ending. Just the
Oh, well, that's
very
nice.
long way winded because my dad thought I could do something that I did not have the power to do.
Could you, so you didn't go through their dating apps or text messages
It
and
was
start
V
texting with
locked,
strangers?
V locked, and not even
Yeah.
wanted to try because
It didn't seem to be haunted or glitched or anything like
no,
that.
Siri worked pretty good for saying who was this? Sorry, I get scared whenever I say that name to my
I
right.
know, I know. Everything's like ready to pop off. I do think like I haven't had that experience in the iPhone era, but I feel like if I found one, I would, yeah, use the robot to, I would just say like call mom or like something like that and just see what happens. Uh, I think waiting for a phone call to come through is a good approach too. But yeah, I guess also in a place like that, I would turn it into an usher or someone and
Yeah,
just
like especially like you're in this section, just give it to the usher right there. Like they have a
then it's
lost
their
and
problem.
found, they can call
Hey, if
the
it was lost,
arena.
it's probably gonna be like, I think I lost it at the game.
Yeah,
I should contact this, yeah, the stadium.
yeah, yeah.
Yep. No, I haven't found much in the way of this stuff. It does fascinate me though to find like objects. I did find this is a fun one. This happened just this week. I took some stuff to the donation center,
Hmm.
and before pulling away, I saw a photograph of a child just on the ground. And it clearly was like someone was donating a bunch of stuff and it fell out of a book or a picture frame or something. And it felt really bad to like get in my car and drive over it. So I picked it up just because I didn't want to
Hmm.
leave a photograph in the street. But then I was like, what am I going to do with a picture of it? I'm just going to throw it away. So instead, when I went grocery shopping, I hid it inside of the shelves. So there's a picture of a child hidden in the hidden in the shelves underneath a bunch of boxes somewhere.
Is it
I'm on
one that
fire.
I frequently shop at, or is it another one?
I don't know.
I'm more at
We can
the
we can offline.
I'm more at the usual spot that I always tell you I'm going, where I'm at, or
No, it
whatever.
wasn't. It was
Okay,
not there.
okay.
It was a yeah, different one. So you may not find it, but yeah. Funnily enough, as worried as you were that you were gonna light up a home pod or something, something that I said in that sentence lit mine up. So
I don't know.
don't know what the robots are doing. You don't know who's living inside of your phone, just like Simulacra. Developed by Kaigon Games, published by Kaigon Games, released first on iOS and PC with subsequent releases on other platforms. But these were first on October 26th, 2017. This was a digital only release. But I went ahead and grabbed the description of it from the App Store. You found the lost phone of a woman named Anna. In it, you see a desperate cry for help in the form of a video message. The phone behaves strangely as you dive deeper into it. You talk to her friends, and they have no idea where she is. Her texts, emails, and photo gallery provide fragments of information. It's up to you to piece it together. Recover lost files, piece back corrupted data, and retrace her final steps. Find her before it's too late. Simulacra. Yeah, you find a phone in this game, hence the opening icebreaker question. This is not a sequel per se, but it is a follow up. This developer is the developer who made Emily is Away. Which did you play that one before?
Is it Emily is Away or Sarah's Missing?
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. Hold on, yeah.
Emily is Away is the AIM game, isn't it?
Yes.
So to answer your question, I actually did play Emily is Away. I
You
have
played
not
that
played
one.
Sarah is Missing though.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Sarah is Missing is the yeah. It's the first game in the Simulacra franchise. My mistake. Yeah, Sarah's Missing,
Okay.
followed by Simulacra 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, I think
Um,
there's a spin-off game too.
I think that's right.
I just saw it. Pipe Dreams, Simulacra Pipe Dreams.
Yes. And I think all of these have come out on phone.
I believe so. I remember seeing 2 and 3 when buying this game. I'm assuming Pipe Dreams is right there, right there with it.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, Emily is Away is the other one, not made by this developer. But yeah, Simulacra, find a phone and you've got to uncover the mysteries. Where did you first learn about Simulacra, Matt? You added this to our list for the season.
So, I didn't connect the dots that this was the Sarah's Missing developer until after my decision, but no, I kind of liked the mobile trend we had going the last couple years with well, I guess Yearwalk's not really mobile, but Device 6.
Kinda, yeah.
Um, so I was like, oh, let's do that. And with like my exploration to more horror subgenres this season, I figured I know these types of games exist. Let's kind of Google like the standout one, or maybe like the first of its kind in a way. And Simulacra it was the one I kind of kept coming up. Surprisingly, not Sarah's Missing, but yeah, no, that was kind of the whole reason for my decision. So, kind of in my research for the lead up for game selection last year, that's kind of when I found out about this.
I played a lot, like not of these phone type games, but I feel like this was heavily prevalent in the like Flash era of games, like these sort of fake interfaces, things like that. I do appreciate games like this. We played Hacknet before. That was a fun one where you're, doing different terminal style commands to navigate through a game. Yeah. I think this is a good fit overall for the rest of what you're doing with horror, but yeah, to your point, I'm happy to have another mobile thing because I don't think I have a mobile game this year, do I?
I don't believe you do.
I have like 26 PlayStation games, but nothing mobile. So this is a good candidate. So the game picks up with you. You're just looking at the home screen of a mobile phone. What was your first reaction when you started playing?
Just like besides the menu, just like how quick it jumps into the like just the phone interface.
Mhm.
And then it gives you like the cheap jump scare when you unlock the phone for the first time.
Yeah.
But once you get by that, like it's straight. It's a phone, like it to the point where like, and we'll talk more about this later. But like my immediate thing was to like kind of like just start doing some of my typical phone flicks on my thumb, like some of the like
Yeah. Yeah.
the regular things, like your notification center for me is in the top left. I felt like pulling that down to see what would
Yeah. Yeah.
happen. Stuff like those types of actions that you're just so used to on your your actual smartphone. I just kind of wanted to see what was replicated here. Yeah, and it was it was pretty much just like, here's a phone, and it really does kind of like, I guess if you mimic this scenario in some way, it really does like, here are the keys to the phone. Like, if you want to try to figure out who this is or how to get in contact with them or whatever, like what would you do almost? It's like inviting you. So, um, I was pleasantly surprised about just like the straight up like interface from the start of
You
the
felt like
game
it was pretty immersive overall?
with the actual phone itself and the app layout and some of the different actions. It's more Android, the type of stuff, especially like
Yeah,
settings and
yeah,
stuff in the corner. But like,
yeah.
having worked with that phone, and it's there's similarities enough between an iPhone and Android. Yeah, I I was pretty happy to see that at the jump.
Yeah, it's quick. I was impressed with how quickly like intuitive things were and how naturally you slipped into it. There were some things that broke my immersion that we can dive into a little bit more like later on, but like the first one, what was the first one I noted? Um the date format, that was the one. That was the first thing where like I did start to feel like myself slipping in there, but then the date format was done more in like the UK style, I think, where it was
Oh yeah, it's like month and
day,
day.
month, year. And
Yeah.
yeah, it just that kind of threw me off a little bit where I was like, "Oh, okay." But otherwise, yeah, to your point, like you're jumping in and using text messages feels good. Even like typing on a fake keyboard in a like they didn't pull up the OS level keyboard for that. They do it with their own
Hmm.
baked in one, but it still like worked. It was responsive enough. Even when I like would type and mistype, it was easy enough to delete content. That was very fluid, I thought. Do you remember the first app you opened when you got into the phone?
Um, not the first app, but I remember like before like really diving in, I was just kind of like peeking at the various apps to see what they were. So, um, being an experienced Tinder user from back in the day, I recognize Spark and its interface. That is shockingly accurate to the real experience, both with the characters and the actual swiping.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
so yeah, that was that. The I forget which one was the social media, but essentially like a Twitter feed.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
forget what it's called now.
but yeah, like you had that. Like the text messages felt like the messages app, contacts. Um, so the only one that like felt off was like and it was for the purpose to like move things along plot wise, but like that weird like diary video capture thing. That
Yeah,
was
that one was.
I know there are apps out there like that. I've never seen them use mainstream to the point like this kind of advertised. That being on someone's front page of apps seemed weird. And
Yeah. So I've got the thing pulled up here. Jabber is the social media adjacent one. Let's jump back to we should run through the apps real quick.
yeah.
So yeah, there's Spark, which was the Tinder adjacent thing. I missed the Tinder boat. By the time that
Good.
stuff hit, but so like for me, I had to really slow down for a second and be like, which way is the right way? You know
Oh.
what I mean? Like if I'm trying to match, like it's not muscle memory for me. So I was like, what was the um that took a minute. And then but I do remember like online dating and there's definitely the like that side that side of it and knowing like friends who had since we're like jumping into a girl's phone and seeing what it's like to get messages from strange dudes on the internet. I know enough women who've had those experiences, so you kind of have a bit of that. That all felt real enough, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
um the social media stuff and Jabber I felt like was really accurate to that kind of feed, especially of this era. Like it felt like 2017 uh sort of microblog posting. And then there's Vlogger, which is the one you talked about where yeah, that one was a little I think if it weren't for the actress's portrayal, I
Yeah.
would have hated it more. I feel like she did an okay enough job of like feeling like she was actually using that app. I think Anna, the actress who played Anna, was probably the strongest performance in the game. Um, and the most convincing, I would say, in terms of just like, yep, this is a real person. There were some parts where it was a little, in the vlogs especially, it was a little like, no one would do this, but I was able to suspend disbelief enough. There's Surfer, which is your web browser, and that one comes into play in some sneaky, fun ways. Phone, chats, gallery, and mail, which are kind of what they sound like. Chats was the first one I remember jumping into because I don't know. It's the thing to me that felt like the most pressing to respond to was text messages.
Mm-hmm.
So that was where I was first introduced to Greg. Um, and then Greg calls you not long after that. So we have four main characters outside of Anna. Well, I'm sorry, including Anna in the story. So Anna, the girl whose phone is missing. Greg, her ex-boyfriend, recently ex-boyfriend. We have Taylor, a match on Spark, who's in the DMs, and then Ashley, a good close friend of Anna. If anybody else, like there were a couple other like names that popped up
Yeah, a
on and off, but
couple side characters that play some roles at different points,
yeah,
but yeah.
Merv pops up at some point, but he was sort of just toward that one little bit and then kind of done.
Yeah, same thing with the
Um,
girl with the like that did the giveaway thing. She was popular in social media. Oh, I can't remember the name.
oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. I don't
forgot to
remember now
write
either. Yes,
all this stuff down. But yeah, her like
yeah, you
another
gotta.
thing, like just a small segment that like you kind of interact with her. Um,
Well, let's jump into those specifically because the and we're kind of like jumping forward a little bit technically in the progression of things, but since you brought them up, like the what Matt's referring to, if you've not played, is there are these sections in the game. I think this is where Simulacra is at its strongest, is these puzzles that require you to use what you have to figure out how to progress the story. And in the one Matt just mentioned, there's like a social media influencer who I don't even remember what we're unlocking from her at this point because that part almost doesn't matter. But the way you get there is you need to decode a. You have to get her phone number because you have to call her to get something. And in order to get her phone number, you have to go back and look through her um, most recent Jabber posts. And like she's got little hints within the posts that tell you exactly like what her phone number is. You call her and then you get the answer, you progress the story. Um, and there's a few of those too. There's the one where you need to go. Uh, there's a few that take you to Surfer to go like on the web
mm-hmm.
browser. The one where you have to look up the like sex offender website.
Yeah, there's that one. Um, you get
And there's the one
redirected
with the news article.
yeah, you get redirected for to Surfer to look up the information to change your Spark profile or
Right, right,
make the
right,
new
right.
one or whatever. Um,
Yeah, when you hit that point where you're locked out.
um,
Um,
yeah, there's a couple. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember all the different.
I think some of the less effective ones are, speaking of Spark, is like that one where you need to like come up with the exact right profile to find the killer. I don't even know if killer is the right word or
Yeah,
not, but
yeah.
like, yeah, that whole bit. Um, but yeah, I think that's where it's at its best. I think it's at its worst where you're. We'll save what's worst. Let's pull back a bit. We'll go to the story. Who stood out to you character wise out of
Um,
Anna, Greg, Taylor,
well,
and
I think
Ashley?
you just the search for Anna and just the fact, like you said, you actually get like the videos of her, especially the vlog videos, and all that stuff. So I think she sticks out just because she's like the really the only main on-screen character. I don't even remember if Greg actually makes an appearance. I know Taylor does briefly. With that dumb shower
Yeah,
thing where
he's
he pops out singing or
yeah,
whatever
he
the
has a
hell.
stupid video.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but no, I think Anna's the main standout. But I for the sections where you were interacting with her. But I think like Ashley, like some of the dialogue might be a little over the top, but like that was probably the most real conversation between like two friends or
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, like if not Anna, then I would say Taylor.
Yeah, because I think what we're seeing, especially when you go back through the text messages that Anna and Ashley have, like it
Yeah.
feels like a friendship between two people versus like, um, I don't know, uh, some of the other dialogue that just sort of was like, eh,
Well,
you know.
Greg throws me off on the calls. Like I could kind of get behind the like mad, still bitter breakup boyfriend
Sure.
mentality thing, but his voice acting's so bad when he calls you and leaves voicemail.
That was the like he was the first moment where like I could suspend my disbelief on the phone interface, on the
Yeah.
date formats. As soon as Greg called the first time, I literally wrote, uh, yeah, I believed Anna when she talked to her mom, like the acting at least, like her talking to her mom, voice memo wise, sounded
Oh yeah,
like
right.
this is a conversation. But Greg sounds like a PS2 game frat boy NPC. Like he was just like background character that they got their friend who like programmed part of the game to just like, hey dude, can you do lines for this real quick in the corner? Like it just was a bit of that.
Yeah, for sure.
I, yeah. But the rest of them, I never felt like cringy. I never felt like this character's not real. Like they did a good job of creating realism, I think. Did you develop any allegiances or trust for any of them early on?
Ashley.
Yeah, she's the easiest one. So you didn't trust Taylor, didn't trust Greg?
They were too. Greg's just an asshole. And again, you get that phone call pretty early. You're just kind of like over him. Taylor
Yeah, yeah,
was just
yeah.
like too. It was like too obvious, like
Yes.
the whole spark thing, and like not to say that like Ian ends up being like the antagonist, right? Whatever, or whatever. But like you knew there was something that wasn't like being communicated or said or whatever. And then when you
Yes. Something's
uncover
not
it,
kosher.
it's not like it's really not. It's bad, but not like the worst thing.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh yeah, all right, that actually makes sense for you.
Sure, but it also like didn't I don't the way he was so pushy, I did not want to give him much. Because
Yeah.
also like the way I looked at it was I've got text messages from people on this girl's phone who she clearly has a relationship with. I can see back and forth like their chat history, so I know they're connected in some way. This guy is just like a dude she met on a dating site. Like there's no real world connection. So to me, like I'm looking at it through my own eyes, like I'm not going to tell you all of this stuff. And then when you start thinking like because you're a stranger and because bad things can happen from meeting strangers on apps like this, maybe I shouldn't trust you at all. So I kind of really cut Taylor off really early
Mm.
on. Um, how about Ashley? Did you stick with sort of your initial feelings with her? Did that change as you played?
Yeah, I kind of played as Anna though the entire time because I figured that like I don't know because again like Greg he seemed like an asshole. I don't I it was too obvious that he probably like they were really there was a moment where they were really trying to make it out like he was the dude, but it just seems
Mhm.
so obvious. But like still, I didn't want to like feed him information. Like you said, Taylor, it was something weird. I did drip feed him a little bit more than Greg, but Ashley was the
Yeah.
one. I was just thinking like Ashley might come around like either a like kind of reveal like a fact if I keep playing along as Anna, or
Yes, yes,
something
yes,
good
yes.
might come out of this instead of just revealing. Because I had a feeling if I played my hand that I was someone else, she would have just cut ties and stopped texting or whatever.
Because yeah, I think the game early on like only gives you a few like you're kind of forced to role play as Anna when talking to Ashley pretty early
Yes,
on.
yeah.
You don't have like the option to do otherwise. And it suddenly presents you with that choice and I like you kind of stuck with I'm gonna keep making Ashley think that everything is fine. And that I'm not Anna.
Right.
Did you feel speaking of choices, did you feel like you were actively making choices that led toward the ending?
Yes and no. I mean, I can
Or how about just like progressing the story? Do you feel like everything you were doing was moving it along?
like it's another like yes and no answer. So this probably balloons out to one of my major gripes, and maybe I take back a criticism of a game we reviewed a while back called Hypnospace Outlaw.
Mm.
I believe in Hypnospace Outlaw, one of my complaints was this game's like too wide open. It doesn't focus you. It just lets you like click around, and you could easily get lost if you're trying to progress the game. This did the
Hmm.
opposite, and I think I like Hypnospace's approach better. The
Yeah.
on rail tech stuff is not fun, and that was about 60% of this game.
Yes. And I feel like today you could probably do a lot more with like libraries of like uh, whatever. Like you could build text interactions that are based on bots versus um these canned responses. So
Yeah,
you could probably integrate a tool or something that would let the game parse natural language from a player or something.
I don't even hate the lack of like typing out and like actual engagement in conversation, but like about of all the times you're doing this, about like 70% of the time I didn't like it. It was one of those things like in Fallout where like I don't like any of the responses. What do I
Yeah.
hit? Like
Yeah,
my
yeah, exactly.
character, or I guess like myself in this game or whatever, like I would not say or do any of these things. I
No,
would
if I
do
found the
option I
phone,
would do
yeah.
option B or option D, none of the above.
Yeah,
Option E,
exactly.
something completely different.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
that was the one downfall of this one that I'm curious to see how like future iterations
right.
changed, if at all. But yeah. To that, did you know there were multiple endings when you came into this game?
Kind of figured, and I think because this is not a game you play in one playthrough. Shockingly, it took me a couple times. Um, I played about 60 to 90 minutes each time. Did you? You made a face. Did you finish it in one sitting?
Accidentally.
Accidentally. All right. Um,
I literally like was not falling asleep. I was in bed but not tired. And I was like, "Oh, we're recording this episode coming up soon. I should start this." And I opened it, started playing. I don't remember what checkpoint I got to, but I remember I got to something and I swiped out of the app and looked back at the real time and I was like, "Oh, it's like 10:40 something. I'll just do this next little bit and I should wrap up and go to bed." And then next time I did that, it was 11:30 and I was like, "Oh, okay. I went longer than I thought I'd go. I'll just do this next little bit and then I'll be done." And then I didn't look at it again until it was like 12:58 or something like that, and I was like, "Oh man, it's late." And I just kept going until it was done.
yeah. So longer game than I would expect, like for this approach. Um, so I played it anyway to answer the question. I played in multiple sittings, and I think at one point I looked at like where am I at, and when like stumbling across like percentage wise roughly where I'm at, that's when I kind of ran into the different endings. But again, some of the based on the way the conversations were going, especially like at one point in the game, you're kind of tasked with between trusting Taylor or Greg or playing the in between. Like
Yeah, yeah.
going back to even like your previous question, like yeah, you're moving the story along, but and like you feel like your choices have impact, but like it's not the subtle choice making. It's definitely like it's almost like that Telltale thing where it's like you can develop relationships with characters in different ways, but they're like each episode of a Telltale game has like five pivotal decisions. It definitely felt like that approach.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure if I went back through it now and looked, you could probably pick out exactly the moments that like led to one thing or the other. Um, did you play through it for multiple endings or did you
Nah, I
let
kind of
yourself
I
go
kind of
for
just
the lead?
read and I did look at where some of the key differences, or like my key
Yeah.
different decisions had to be to make different endings. Um, but if the game was shorter, I probably would have done it. But I just didn't feel like doing another 4 hour playthrough of this game and going through the text messages. Um,
Yeah.
and did you want to? Maybe I'm looking. Maybe I didn't look ahead too far. Did you want to bring up the little dumb mini game within the text messages too? that felt
the like
pointless.
corruption.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my I don't yeah, I don't remember if I put this in the I don't think I did.
Doesn't
I
look like you
kind
did.
of put the I put a call out of the glitchy mechanic stuff, the glitching mechanic in the visuals section of
Mm.
the outline, but eh, yeah, I mean we're here now where we can talk about kind of like what this game could have done better. And I think for me, like the entirety of the antagonist, all of that glitchy stuff, like I kind of wish that this were more I I wish that she did get kidnapped by someone she met on
Yeah, like
Ark. Like that it wasn't this weird
yeah.
ghoul entity thing that just takes people. Like it I don't know, and maybe that's too real, but I felt like the game it leans so heavily into like relying on like you pointed at the beginning, like your muscle memory and your familiarity with this interface, and it leans heavily into like the realism of all of it. So like make it a real thing and make it like something real that would happen to somebody. And like whatever, it's an artistic choice. I just felt like I didn't it kind of fell apart for me because like the immersion of feeling like I found someone's phone was broken by the fact that there's like glitches that are breaking the screen but not really, and then we're resetting the phone but not really, and all that stuff. And then the mechanic you're speaking of is this like reconstruction mechanic where it happens in text messages, it happens with photos as well, where
Oh, yeah,
there's
I forgot the
like
photo one. Yeah, the photo one was weird.
yeah, I did not love that one. It's a weird puzzle type. It was like
I mean, like,
yeah, you
it's
had
like
to
you had like overlap the squares, but this like it's a 3x3 grid, and you had to overlap like the squares
the
so
right
that
combination of them
so
with
that
negative space.
yeah, but there was like six different things to choose from, and they like colored the photo or corrupted the photo, and you had to be careful how you placed the. It was really. I don't think I ever totally grasped it. I think I got lucky like the 8 times I
I
needed to do
I
it or
got
something.
lucky all the time, and like most times I got there, I was like, oh, I probably need to like do this a better way. Like there's probably a better optimization I could be doing for this, but I'm not doing it because it's done. Yeah, that part I didn't love. The one you're talking about where you're like reconstructing text messages, you're like I mean, it's fine. I guess it's something to like change up the gameplay of text messages, but you're kind of like looking for a clue in a past message. So you go and find that message, and then you see it's all like glitched out in red or whatever. You click on it, and then it gives you all of the words out of order, and you need to just put them in order. And it's not that difficult of a thing. It's just sort of like something to pad the time out and like give you a little bit more interaction, but yeah, it didn't hit for me. I would have rather like maybe hid some of the like video evidence or some of the other stuff in the messages to make me like go back and just read through that stuff like that, make that the engaging part. Like maybe there's a key detail in a video that was sent and you've got to go find that video and watch the video, and that's where you're engaging. You're scrubbing back and forth through stuff or whatever. I don't know. Um, yeah, that was the stuff I felt like it missed on a little bit. Um, I do think the immersion was great until it wasn't, and that was the stuff where I wish I don't know, like look, if all these people had British accents, I wouldn't have thought twice about it. But the fact that they had American accents and the time is different format from US format, and the one of the videos when you see the top of the parking garage in the background there's a highway
Oh,
and the cars are on the opposite side of the road than we drive. And it was just another one of those things where it's like,
I didn't
yeah,
even
like
notice that.
playing a game. Like it was just again, tiny little moment, but enough where it was like, you want to be an American game. Like we just talked about Obscure last week. We did our trivia episode and how that was a US high school made perfectly realized by a French company, and like they did it so well. And this was like almost there, just off the tiniest bit. Um, I think if they polished that stuff up and like made sure that they stuck to uh the region they're intending to be in, then that would be a lot stronger. And I think make it a real world threat and like don't do the glitchy stuff. Don't do the I think some of the jump scare stuff was whatever. Like I really did get creeped out like after was it after the phone reset but didn't reset? It like put itself back where like suddenly the background changes so Anna's not looking down, she's looking at
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Like that was a good mechanic. It was a good hook, good jump or whatever, but like and then like the rest of the game she's just staring at you. It was creepy. Um but otherwise I those are the like I think complaints I have. Yeah, I don't think so. What about you? Was there anything you felt like it could have done better or stronger?
I just think like the tech stuff was so on rails, and it was so much of this game that like when you kind of hit on it, like when you're utilizing the entire phone for a puzzle, or like 3 of the 8 apps available to utilize a puzzle in the fourth app. I think that's when this game's at its strongest. There's just not many of those situations. Which yeah, it is what it is. I did like some of the interactivity. Like I immediately swiped right on all of the
Mm.
matches and then messaged them like
Oh
to
yeah.
start initiating a conversation and see what would happen. And you had different responses that some of them were fun, some of them just did answer back, which is like so accurate for that,
That makes
for that
sense. Yep.
stuff. So like some of that stuff was fun, but like besides Spark, you didn't really have another chance to do like all the contacts were kind of locked down. You couldn't really call anyone, couldn't really text anyone. Um, too much outside of what was like in scope of the main story. So I don't know. It was just like I go back to what I said earlier. It was just like I felt like Hypnospace was like too wide open for those that like want to like focus on beating the game. I think it's a great thing for just like exploring and as a time capsule and what the 90s were or
Yeah.
whatever. But this game I think is just it wants to be open and all this stuff, but it's too on rails. And so I don't know. I think I need that game in the middle, or I discredited Hypnospace Outlaw a little too much when we reviewed it, whenever that was.
Well, that sequel should be coming soon, so you'll have your redemption,
I forgot
I
they're doing a
think.
sequel to that game, to be honest.
Yeah. They have to, right? We got to find out what happened with Zane. Um what do you think this game does really well?
I mean, besides the little dumb emergent things you said, I still like the interface of that phone. And the accuracy to which some of those apps, actually most of those apps, hold. Like Spark looks like it looks and feels like Tinder. It's treated like Tinder. Jabber, that is straight up a Twitter feed without being a Twitter feed.
Yeah.
Um, Surfer, I mean, you can't punch in a URL manually. Like you have to kind of rely on like recently viewed and links that get sent to you. But like minus that felt like a real like, oh, I hit a new tab. These are all like my recently viewed. Here's my history. Like it felt very much like that. Um,
Yeah.
and just like some of the interface and stuff, like mail felt like mail when I was looking through it. Messages was messages, despite like the text being on Rails. That was a text message conversation I was having. So yeah, I can't get over I can't stress enough to how much I like the actual interface of the phone. Jump scares. There was a one at the beginning. I really thought I was going to be dealing with that like the entire game.
Yeah.
It's not that prevalent. For what I thought it would be. And then I think that's about it. Yeah, like I said, the other parts. Oh, what I said earlier about like utilizing the phone, like 3 or 4 different apps of the phone to solve a puzzle in one app or something like that.
Yeah,
That
that was
stuff's
really, really
that
well
stuff's
done.
good. It's just so much of this game is those text message threads, and at times they also seem like to just go too long. Like you
Yeah.
kind of know where the end point of the conversation is before you get there, and at times you're just trying to like, all right, can we get to the next part now, kind of thing.
That's just a metaphor for life, man. Moving a bit more into visual specifically, We talked a lot about the just interface, the way it looks, feels, etc. Do you think that, I don't know. Do you feel like it would have been more immersive if playing on an iPhone this could use actual iOS look, feel, design? They probably can't. I'm sure Apple wouldn't allow it.
I don't think so. I think this was like immersive enough. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like using a different model phone. I mean, like everything I would expect to see in a smartphone was kind of there as core kind of capacity, I guess.
Yeah. Um, do you think that all of the video that we got to see felt authentic,
No,
acting wise? Except no.
no, no. That felt like filler to like get Anna's feelings. Like I don't
Yeah, I
know.
think the only video in the whole game that felt real was Taylor. Because I felt like a loser like Taylor would take a video like that in a bathroom and send it to somebody, and I I know that guy so much, and that's
Like I feel like those videos could have been, especially with the way they did like those soft resets on the phone and they were being like more text history and whatever. I feel like if
yeah,
those videos were repurposed into a way of like they were sent to Ashley or they were sent to Greg, I think that could have gotten kind of like whatever purpose they wanted that to served in a way that didn't
yeah,
feel so like forced. Um, Honestly,
yeah. That's fair.
the vlogger stuff, like it was another way for me to see like how far along I was on because they were uncorrupting.
Yeah, yeah. That was where when it was like 12 something, and I was like, I looked at that and I was like, oh, I'm close. I'm just gonna stick it out. Um, and we both kind of agreed glitching mechanic like didn't need it. Or where did you fall? I guess I was more on the side of like, but
Hey, I think it was just to pad out something, just something to shake up those conversations because I feel like without it they go long. I already think they go long, but I think they feel even longer without it.
do you think in terms of like how that reveals the antagonist, like do you feel like the antagonist was strong? Do
No,
you wish for it was something else?
no. I mean, I think I would have liked a sneaky good reveal somehow. I almost kind of wish like the antagonist changed based on your decisions instead of like, did you
Yeah,
save
it could have
Anna?
been Taylor, it could have been Greg.
Yeah, I feel like that would have been cool in this game.
Yeah.
Um, I don't hate the it follows kind of mentality. It's not
That's
quite
fair.
that. I don't hate it, but it the last kind of conversation, the final conversation, kind of kills the whole
Yeah.
vibe of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh Sound wise, we talked a little bit about Greg's voice acting. What did you think of the voice acting overall?
It's fine. I think Anna, for as I like it, how it's like how critical do you want to be of it? Like right, like I don't expect a person's vlog to be perfect, but also like at what point do you need to act a little bit? It's kind of like
Yeah.
I would say they kind of feel like vlogs, so I guess credit is due there. I guess, but no, Greg, no bueno. Taylor was fine. The unofficial call from the call from the police department. The calls also threw me off immersion wise too. The one way call that like
Uh
kind of
right.
hung
Yeah,
up
yeah, they're just
itself after
yeah.
despite answering was weird.
Yes.
But
Uh
yeah, it's fine. I did kind of like though like there's the main menu. Like you boot the game, you go to the main menu. There's music there, but like once you get into the phone, it's quiet, like it would be unless you actually played. And I think that quiet played into the atmosphere, the feel
yeah.
of being on just like someone's phone.
Yeah. Um One bit we didn't talk about that was I think one of my favorite parts was the job interview that you have to go on
Oh
partway
yeah,
through.
I completely forgot about that. Yeah.
That was one of the weirder puzzles where like you find it's a guy's profile who works somewhere, you find chats with him, like you kind of reverse engineer your way back into um getting yeah, you're trying to find where this guy is, so you it's kind of like the lead to the end. And yeah, you reverse engineer it by getting a job interview with this company, and the like answers you give. First off, it's a job interview that's over text message, right? It's not even like a phone call, it's not a video call, like you're just straight up using canned responses. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. um
Man,
I,
that
I guess
guy.
before we yeah,
Also, that guy like breaking every HR violation, man.
him or oh,
Him.
right, because he
Yeah.
like fully disclosed what happened to the
Yeah.
guy that was yeah, it's insane. um yeah, we had that. We had the other work run in where we go to Anna's work and uh take advantage of Merv
Yeah.
to get into Anna's computer. So there's that piece. Yeah. Um the only other piece I wanted to ask you about was did you uh did you restore the phone successfully
Is that the first time with Greg when you're answering the three
with Greg
questions?
when he's at the
I had the
apartment or whatever?
final answer and I couldn't type it in time.
I had the same thing,
I don't think
and I
that
don't.
impacts the endings though. I don't remember that impacting it. I have a feeling that was going to
That's
happen
weird.
whether or not.
Interesting. Because yeah, I fully was like, I knew it all because I was like really diligent about like going through. I looked at all the tabs she had open in the browser. I was checking emails, all that stuff. So I had the answers. It's just like I could not get it in quickly enough. Um, yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, before we rank this thing, or yeah, before we rank it, overall, you liked Simulacra?
It's fine.
Oh, why just fine?
I think it's different. It's a different take on the traditional game. It's definitely like the it's definitely that version. It's definitely the video game version of like Blair Witch Project, any of those found footage type horror game or horror movies. Maybe not to the
Yeah,
horror extent. There's some jump scares and it gets creepy at times, like you said, but nothing. It's definitely one of those. I just think the game's like way too on rails at times, and that kind of kills the enjoyment.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but it's not a bad game. I just don't think. I think like a sequel probably improves on all the things we're saying we didn't
yeah,
like. Um, like the story's fine. Like I would say I was engaged through most of it.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Not necessarily. Um, maybe more of a not for me type of deal than it's a bad game. I think I try to reflect that in my review, but yeah, it's fine. I don't know who I would recommend this to immediately, but I'll keep this in my back pocket.
It's I think the cool thing about it is it's usually, I mean, even on its own at full price, it's only $5. So it's like a good like just hang out for a couple hours and play at this thing, see if you can figure out the puzzle.
That's on
It's
the.
often on
I
sale
was gonna say that's on
for
the
a
App Store.
dollar.
I'm sure. I don't
Yeah.
know how often it goes on sale on the App Store, but I'm sure on Steam this thing hits $1 often.
It is according to mobygames.com. It is currently on sale on GOG for 99 cents. So I don't know when that sale ends, but if you're listening to this I, and you're intrigued, it's on sale for a dollar. Doesn't say when the sale ends. Oh, yeah, you've got 2 days as of hearing this to buy it for $1 on GOG. So there you go. Uh, I would recommend it as just a game to check out of one of these. I think it's cool. I think some of the stuff it does really well, like um the puzzle solving itself is really, really well done. I do think the interface it sucks you into that familiar territory, and I think it relies on that in you enough that it knows kind of when to play with that. It doesn't necessarily go all the way with it, but it kind of flirts with it. There's subtle things like the opening the browser and you start to see like web pages loading in like an old school uh preload kind of way. That was a fun little touch. Little things like that, but um definitely not the yeah, it's right there, man. I think when we rank it, we'll see that. Um so let's rank it. You can follow along, of course, in video format, or if you're at home, I guess doesn't matter where you are. If you're not looking at the video, you can just navigate to thefreecheese.com/the list and watch along with us. Where'd you have this one at? What was your
I I think this is more. So when I reviewed this is a tough review because there's like some things I really like in each particular category that we rank these games on. It's very tough where it's like there are some aspects in that like in gameplay. Like I love the using the entire phone to solve a puzzle, but I also hate it equally hate it like the text message thread stuff.
yeah.
So I had a lot of that one reviewing where it just felt like there was a super strong thing, but a super like negative thing. Then he kind of just kind of balance each other out to like an average score. Because of that, and the way this list just kind of just falls like it's good, and all of a sudden you're kind of like downward spiral quickly. I
Yeah.
have this. This is I think it might be quite low, but I have it as the new 127 between Lifeline and Billy Hatcher.
Dang. All right. Let's see where I can meet you at. I had this as the new 85 below IB and above Costume Quest 2.
Ooh,
But I'm going to
interesting.
tell you something. Seeing Disaster Report 4 Summer Memories at 104, I'm immediately regretting the number that I wrote down when I wrote this down because I'm like, Disaster Report 4 is better than this. So if you're already down in 127, I'm coming for you.
Yeah, I just like especially I
Oh yeah,
mean
Devil's
this
Crush.
especially like when you're at like I like yeah, there might be a couple games on the way down that I think this might be better than, but like at this point in the list or with us ranking, I kind of look like are the overwhelming majority of games in that area I rather play. And like that's the case for like if once you go immediately down, like I would rather play Game Them Story, I would rather play Obscure, I would rather play Daikatana. I think I would rather play Gravity
Yeah.
Rush, Star Fox Assault. I kind of like better in this game, and then you kind of keep going down again. Then, like you said, you have Devil's Crush, Disaster Report 4, Fear Effect, The Darkness, The Uninvited, which maybe in hindsight that's a little too low, but who knows. Go down
Yeah.
again. I think I like Scooby Doo Mystery better than this game. Metal Gear Solid's a better game. I think Syndicate, I have my problems with it, but I think that's the better. Like, I just keep seeing these groups of games that keep driving it down. I really don't stop doing that until I hit Lifeline. And I'd rather play
That's
Billy
fair.
Hatcher than this, too.
That says a lot too. Um,
So I'm willing to come up. I'm just like that's my thinking and why I guess kind of got it so low to start at least.
no, I don't disagree with it.
Like I
I do think
go ahead.
like I think this is stronger than like Fireteam Raven because I think this is a
I
more compelling experience than that.
I can get behind that.
So maybe we go there, the new 116.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, actually, I think I could easily come up there. I think I kind of went low because I saw Sunset Overdrive, but maybe that's one of our outliers.
We've got some weird stuff in weird places on this list that we may or may not be addressing in the near future.
No, but I would definitely play this. I think over Gaiden, Betrayal, Top Gear, maybe not Chameleon Twist, but definitely Gauntlet.
Yeah.
And then going down, you're kind of right at Lifeline immediately again. So
Yeah. And like
117
my
or no
review's not
116, right?
terrible. Yeah. My review's not terrible on the score, which is the odd part, but like, yeah, just not.
No, what will mine end up being? I haven't dumped it into the math yet.
I just mathed it and mine comes out to a 6.4. So like it's not a bad score. It's just like it's one of those games that I think especially you might only be able to play once unless you like get it on Steam and you're really really obsessed with your Steam achievements or something or GOG achievements, whatever. Like I yeah, I didn't have a reason to play it again.
Yeah, I came in at 5.6. Again, not a bad
Yeah,
game.
it's
Just think it's like average.
yeah,
Yeah, but I think that going before I said the number, I said going into just the way this list is shaped. I just think there's like good to like above average, and then there's just a sharp drop off once we hit like the true average to bad.
yeah, it's true. Yeah, we haven't really like we don't have a ton of bad games on this list. Like the bottom of this list isn't bad games.
No, so
Bottom meaning
right,
range,
yeah, yeah.
not necessarily the bottom because the bottom, yeah. There it is. Simulacra, the new 116. Uh and next week we're coming back for Harvester. The point and click adventure. What did I say last week? The point and click adventure you've never heard of. Something like that.
You'll know it
Come check
next
that
week.
out.
Don't worry.
Yeah. And yeah, we've got just a couple more weeks left. 4 more episodes until spring concludes. And everybody tries to buy a Nintendo Switch too, maybe. Till then, thank you, Matt. Thank you for hanging out with us. We'll see you next time. Bye.